Welcome into the First Cut Podcast live from the WM Phoenix Open. Welcome into all of our viewers on YouTube, our Golf on CBS channel, on CBS Sports HQ, and for our audio-only family. Fear not, I am joined by Kyle Porter and Rick Gaiman, running co-pilot here. Joe Musso, longtime listener, first-time caller. Fellas, fun day here out at the WM. It was a false start, hour and 45-minute frost delay early in the AM, but they got out of here. They started fighting that win, and in the end, we're looking at Nick Taylor at the top of this leaderboard, posting a number. Comes home in 30, guys. 6 birdies on the back. Kyle Porter, a bit of a who's man situation. Take us through it. How did it all come together?
Well, first of all, what was the San Francisco thing? Coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Coldest winter I ever spent was a winter in Phoenix.
In Scottsdale, yeah.
It was unbelievable. The weather this morning was like the British Open. Mm-hmm. It was unreal. We got Nick Taylor, Adam Hadwin at the top. I mean, Rick, you can probably speak to this better than I can. It's round one. Great scores. I mean, they gained, 6 strokes, 5.5 strokes, 7 strokes on the field. Don't know what probably 6, right?
They would end up gaining 6.5 strokes.
6.5, okay. The thing for me with Nick Taylor, who's leading, is I looked at his last 12 tournaments, Rick, and he's only been positive ball striking in 4 of those. Yeah. And he gained, 3.5 today? Mm-hmm. Or 3, I guess, today. So it's not sustainable, right?
No offense to our Nick Taylors of the world. There's just a lot of Nick Taylors, and there's going to be a lot of rounds like this that are going to be great, but they're very, very difficult to follow up on, right? We see this week in and week out. Now, he's having a great season, right? He's got 4 top 20s already this year. This is kind of Nick Taylor's season in general. We've seen him have good success at Pebble Beach in the past, and this kind of early January, February start, get out of the gates well, and see if you can hold on as kind of the big boys start playing into the further part of the meat of the schedule. But you're right. You look at the top of the leaderboard. We haven't said this in a while. Like, what's the real lead, Kyle? We haven't whipped that one up in a while.
My favorite stat. What's the actual lead? It's not 5.
No, it's not 5.
Sorry to Canada.
It's 4.
Who's at 4?
Xander.
Yeah, Xander's at 4. The other stat, Joe, I have on Nick Taylor. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about this. He shoots back 930. Super impressive. Mm-hmm. But he hit 4 putts of 11 feet or more.
And he even admittedly post-round said he was pouring it in from that 10 to 15-foot range. And there you see throws a birdie at it at 16, which is always difficult. 30 in this win, sustainable or not, is something to be celebrated here, Rick.
Yeah, and think about this, right? This is the first full field event of most of these, elevated event of most of these guys' career. Nick Taylor is trying to make a ton of money this week, right? I mean, even I don't expect Nick Taylor to win this golf tournament. But a T6, a T7, keep yourself in the mix throughout. There is a ton of money on the line. The FedEx Cup points are not they're not substantially higher like this purse has been, but this is a huge event for him, and it's the first time we've seen something like this.
Well, and it's almost a way to keep yourself buoyed in the OWGR, right? Because you're not having to play your way into a major, and yet your OWGR points that you could get from a T6, from a T10 are almost major-like, which is meaningful for somebody like a Nick Taylor.
223 OWGR Nick Taylor. I asked you, how'd he get here? We had to look at what his qualifying statistic was that got him into this stacked field, and here he is at the head of it.
Yeah, him and Hadwin, look, they played great, and you don't want to take away from what they did in round one, but it's horses behind them.
That's
right?
it. I think a lot of what you're saying right now is, especially against a field like this, how real is that number?
Yeah, and I think when you've got Xander back there, when you've got Max Homa, who we're going to talk about back there, when you've got John Rahm, kind of keeping a round together, it's I don't think Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin going to bed tonight super confident about winning a trophy on
Nobody's
Sunday.
looking at the direct deposit just yet. We didn't even get through a full 18 holes here. There is some golf to be played in the AM early to finish up those first 18 for the late wave. Late wave, we talked about it. The wind was expected to carry throughout the whole day, Rick, but here we are, sort of a strokes gain difference of almost a full stroke from that early window to the late window. Did anybody really, play themselves out of it here on Thursday?
No, certainly not. And the guys in the afternoon wave absolutely got the better end of it, right? It was about a stroke and a quarter when all was said and done. And obviously we still have some holes to play. And what I think is interesting is those guys who played this afternoon, they were expected, and of course going to come back and have an early tee time on Friday. So it is not completely abnormal for them to get up early, go out and finish their round one, and then we've seen this before, guys. You know, you get hot. Someone like Keegan Bradley, who we might end up talking about, like he's 2 shots into a par 5 on 13. He's in the stretch of golf course that can really open up for you. You can really make a bunch of birdies. You can put a bunch of circles on the card, and then if you get hot, you can just continue right into round 2 and keep that momentum going. So there's a lot that's going to happen, you know, by noon on Friday.
I think, yeah.
KP?
Well, I was going to say, I think the guys that you look at that early on, I don't know that they played themselves out of it, but Morikawa and Rory didn't play very well.
Yeah.
Hideki was 3 over. He shot 74. And so again, in a normal Phoenix week, in a Honda Classic week, you're fine. In a week like this, where now all of a sudden you're 4 down to Rahm, 5 down to Homa, 6 down to Xander, with 54 holes left, it's a little bit more problematic.
That hill gets increasingly steeper. KP, you mentioned it. Big names posting big numbers in some cases, and other guys getting low and get themselves in the mix early on. We're going to cover it all here on the First Cut podcast, presented by the new Sim 2 driver. This is Forgiveness, and this is the First Cut pod. We'll be back in a quick moment.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.